2023 has a strong case for being one of the best years of video game releases ever. We've had spectacular sequels, unbelievable redemption stories, and games that single-handedly redefine their genres. And while many of these games have been showered with praise all year long, it's been easier than ever for the rest to get lost in the shuffle, especially when the biggest stage in gaming helps. So in an effort to spotlight some well-deserving smaller titles, I have compiled what I believe to be the must-play indies of the year. This list features a series of polished experiences across multiple genres with various lengths, all falling somewhere on a wide spectrum of gameplay. So hopefully by the end of this video, there's at least one standout title for everyone. So let's not waste any time, let's jump into it. Starting off the list is Planet of Lana. Similar to titles like last year's Somerville and Indie Hall of Famer Inside, this dialogue-free side-scroller drops you right in the middle of a deceptively traumatic event. From there, it forces you to assume the role of the unlikely hero and set out on a journey to save your home from a War of the Worlds style planetary attack. And while the gameplay alone is nothing to write home about, it is the perfect tool to usher you along so that you can experience the incredible pairing of music and hand-painted visuals that this game puts front and center. At just over 4 hours in length, Planet of Lana is a great game to pick up for the weekend if you just want to reflect on the connection between us and the planet we often take for granted. It's currently on Xbox, PC, and Game Pass. Next up, we have a game that will put your brain in a blender. Viewfinder is a puzzle game all about alternate perspectives, and the gameplay used to realize this vision is nothing short of incredible. From the jump, you understand that this game gives you a wide range of freedom to solve puzzles in a way that makes the most sense to you. Your main tool is the ability to use perspective to your advantage, reshaping the area around you to mimic what your trusty Polaroid captures through its lens. Every few levels, there is a shocking gameplay mechanic that opens up what feels like an almost limitless number of new solutions to the challenge in front of you. Now, to be honest, I personally didn't care too much for the overall story, but the gameplay is so innovative that I would still consider this a must-play title. Each puzzle offers its own little surprises that result in some of the best moment-to-moment gameplay of the year. Check it out now on PlayStation and Steam. Never did I imagine I'd be sitting here gassing up a visual novel, but here we are. Slay the Princess is a psychological horror game that's been on my radar for a while now, and it's safe to say the final product did not disappoint. Now, I can't get into too much detail without spoiling it, but just know your task is to go in and slay the princess. It sounds simple, but this game is an absolute monster of narrative webbing that repeatedly twists and turns in on itself. Within the first 30 minutes, you'll understand that nothing is as clear as it seems, and you're going to have to go deep to find the answers you seek. If you've enjoyed titles in the past like Doki Doki Literature Club, or you just love a good narrative-driven game, do not skip over Slay the Princess. It's currently available on PC. Cassette Beasts might be one of the top 10 most underrated games of the year. It's a Pokemon-like pixel RPG focused on recording monsters and playing back the data you capture in later battles. I think this game pretty much nails everything it's going for. It provides a slightly more advanced battle system when compared to your typical Pokemon combat. It tells a pretty fun story featuring a well-paced mystery adventure to keep you engaged, and there are a ton of cool and original beast designs that you'll pore over to build a perfect team. Now, I'll admit, I'm not super tapped into the world of Pokemon legs, but this might be the best indie attempt in the genre I've ever seen. Sadly, I've not heard nearly enough people giving this game a chance, so if it interests you, please consider supporting it. Check it out now on Xbox, Switch, PC, and Game Pass. The first game I really fell in love with this year was Dredge. You play as a fisherman who washes up in a small town and quickly jumps on a boat to uncover the Lovecraftian horrors that the nearby sea hides. It's equally one of the most relaxing and stressful games I played all year. The process of fishing for exotic creatures and rare materials to upgrade my gear was always incredibly satisfying, no matter how many hours I spent doing it. On the other side of the coin, the possibility of my character going mad or running into some ghoulish sea creature kept me on edge constantly. While the gameplay might not look like much to some, I highly recommend giving this one a try when you're in the mood for something simple but addicting. It's available right now on all platforms. Okay, before we get to the back half of games, yes, I want you to like and subscribe, but I also want to take a quick moment to shout out Dave the Diver. It's not made by an independent team, like Not even close, but I didn't realize that until all of the Game Awards controversy a couple months ago, so up until that moment, it was one of my favorite indie games of the year. So even though it doesn't really fit in this video, go play it because it's an absolutely bonkers game that has no business being as good as it is, and if I don't talk about it here, I don't know when I would talk about it. So just know, go try Dave the Diver. Now, back to the real indies. Okay, next I want to take the time to shout out 2 indies that have garnered a lot of praise, but I didn't get to personally play myself. The first is a highly anticipated sequel that was quietly released and smashed expectations. Now, while it might not have been the hit indie sequel people were originally expecting to steal headlines this year, Blasphemous 2 showed everyone why it's an indie franchise that deserves attention. This bloody adventure once again wows with its breathtaking gothic art style and its brutal and varied combat. It currently sits at an 84 on Metacritic, with many people praising things like the improvements to overall gameplay, the gorgeous new set pieces, and exciting new boss encounters. If you enjoyed the first Blasphemous, or are just interested in exploring this unique world, it seems like Blasphemous 2 should be able to deliver for you. If you're ready to dive in, it's currently on all platforms today. The other game I really wanted to play but just didn't have time for was Pizza Tower. You really only need to look at about 15 seconds of gameplay to understand just how off the rails this thing is. Pizza Tower positions itself as an incredibly unique, one-of-a-kind platforming experience that you will have no choice but to remember. Making a game that is so proudly weird comes with major risks, but according to players, it has paid off. While the game has very few critic reviews, users have rated the game extremely positive across Steam and Metacritic. Many reviews focus on its tight controls, nostalgic feel, and obvious meme potential as reasons why a lot of players believe that it not only deserves all the indie awards, but Game of the Year awards as well. I am kind of stunned at how many extremely gushing, Game of the Year proclaiming reviews this game has, so I am absolutely going to have to pick this up and see for myself at some point. If you want to join me, the game is currently available on PC. For the past couple years, there's been one game that drops in the last few months that quietly turns this genre on its head. Last year, I think it would be the case of The Golden Idol. I will argue the year before it was Inscription, and this year it might be Chants of Sennaar. Chants of Sennaar is all about language and how it can be used to unite and divide communities. It's a puzzle game where you will need to decipher several forms of communication among different classes of people in order to unify everyone and bring harmony to the land. This game has some incredibly magical moments as you progress through the story and slowly watch as the mystery of this world melts away while your understanding of each dialect grows. I found it to be the perfect level of challenging with some rewarding aha moments behind each new set of riddles. This is a game targeted more at my fellow puzzle sickos, but once you're done, it could easily become a game that you'll remember for years. Please, stop what you're doing, check this game out now. It's on all consoles, you have no excuse, check out Chants of Sennaar. Sea of Stars is arguably the best indie that came out this year. This classic turn-based RPG works its butt off to bring the old school retro RPG experience to a modern audience. From a gameplay perspective, I would say the combat and puzzles are decent, but the real magic lies in the world and the story around it. Very quickly, the game will expose you to some incredibly interesting characters and lore, and as time goes on, things only get better. The writers were working overtime to ensure that the big moments of this game always made you feel something. Somewhere on this 30-hour journey, I personally felt the gameplay lost its novelty. Fortunately, the story seemed to ramp up at the perfect time and continue to lift the experience to what I believe was an Indie of the Year level of quality. Now on the surface, Sea of Stars is a good RPG, but the more time you spend with it, you understand it's an opportunity to bear witness to a sometimes funny, sometimes wholesome, and sometimes painful story of companions that could very well bring you to tears. I'm telling you, this game is something special, so check it out ASAP on all platforms. Cocoon is my favorite indie of the year. It is a marvel of puzzle design that I think stands out as an expertly crafted and unique game with very few edges. The way Cocoon guides you through its challenges while teaching you exclusively through experience is incredible. Every time you think you understand what this game will throw at you, it has another surprise ready to shift your entire perspective on how to approach things. This game is incredibly polished and takes great care to do as much as possible to prevent players from locking themselves out of solutions. The result is a seamless journey through a very abstract and perplexing world in which you must flex every possible brain cell to proceed. It's not very often you see a brand new game that is so incredibly fun, fresh, and polished. I pretty much have no notes, so please do yourself a favor and try this one out. It's on all platforms, including Game Pass. Well, there you have it. Several fantastic indies you can play whenever you're ready to pick up a new experience. If I left off your personal favorite indie game of the year, leave it in the comments so we can upvote it and bring some attention to it. And while you're at it, share this video to put your friends on to some cool games. And if you want even more gems, check out last year's Indie of the Year list as well. See ya.